Hi and welcome to Mountains for Everybody YouTube channel and site. Today I want to say a few words about Bivy tents, and the title of the post in my site, which I have here in front of me, is Unknowing Reality of a Bivy tent. So from this title you can conclude what I'm going to point out in this text. I was motivated to write this post and then to record this video because I was watching somebody's YouTube video. The person was spending a night in, in a bivy tent, and it was freezing outside, but the sky was clear. So this is a really, I would say, the best option or possibility that you have with such a tent when the sky is clear. When it is wet outside, when it rains, then it's a completely different story. I am familiar with this type of tents because I use them. This is one of my tents, Ferino Light Tent 1, quite old tent that I bought many years ago, and I use it occasionally when I go on some tours when I have to sleep outdoors on below summits or something like that. And this picture is from one of my tours 2 years ago, and in the post here I also mentioned another tour to Cima delle Nove, and I used the tent on this pass here because this was the only flat area where I could put the tent. It was around 2500 meters, and the flat area was actually in this small chapel at the pass, and this is where I put the tent. The mountain that I climbed was this one, the Cima delle Nove, impressive, beautiful mountain in the Dolomites. So I know a bit about these tents, and I can tell you not everything is uh, perfect when you use such tents. If you're not familiar with BB tents, I would describe them as a hybrid between a baby sack and or BB bag and an ordinary tent. So it is somewhere in between. It offers more volume than a BB bag, but of course far less than in an ordinary backpacking or mountaineering tent. So there is no headroom. My tent, which I mentioned, the Ferrino Light Tent 1, is a headroom peak height 75 centimeters. And this is yet another from Ferrino Sling 1, and you see it is 65. They have also the new version of Light Tent 1, which is Light Tent 1 Pro, and it is slightly higher, 85 centimeters if I remember. So this is still very low, and you cannot sit in this tent. Snugpack ionosphere is 80 centimeters peak height, so again quite low. You don't have option to sit in such a tent, and actually you can see here in this picture, this is Snugpack ionosphere. The person is sitting, but as you see there is no room for the head inside, and this is the only way you can sit in this tent. Now this person is surrounded by snow, so it was obviously, the sky was probably at that moment clear and he could sit like that. But if it rains, of course you cannot sit like that, and of course you cannot cook. There is no place inside, and then you cannot cook outside when it rains. There is no air. That's the problem. It's a rather small space. Actually, when I checked the specifications recently for these Ferrino tents, even I was surprised when I realized that the tents offer, for instance, this is for their tent that I mentioned above, only half cubic meters of volume. And then I calculated the volume that I have in my old Ferrino Light Tent 1, and I came to conclusion that this is around 0.6 cubic meters, and this is roughly this is a bit less than in the Light Tent 1 Pro, because official number is 0.65. So actually it was reasonably easy to calculate the volume, because when you see this tent, it is This is the view without the fly. So the main part is actually a truncated cone, so you can then calculate if you know the height here and you, if you know the length. And this is how I got quite accurate number for the volume of this tent. So it's really small volume, and there are many issues with this design, and you cannot put gear inside. When I was in the rain in the Farnes National Park, I had to put my backpack inside and the boots as well somehow underneath the fly, because this is a two-layer tent, but it was not really comfortable. Then, of course, this is a solo tent and you cannot socialize in such a tent. But the worst situation is when you have to pack in the morning. Even if it is not raining, you will have a lot of condensation underneath the fly. So as soon as you start moving, you will have this condensation going down on you. You have to unzip the inner tent, and then of course you have a direct condensation droplets will go down on the floor of the inner tent. But if you have when you have to pack your stuff and it is wet outside, or when it is raining, then this is a real nightmare. Everything will become wet very quickly. You simply cannot pack inside, and then it's a wrestling with your sleeping pad, with your sleeping bag. You have to put everything in their stuff sacks, and it's very hard. When I was packing last time in the rain, it was everything wet. So if you want to try, I can suggest several of these tents. Of course, these are, I would say, the best on the market. I already mentioned a few of them, but it is important to bear in mind these facts, that when it rains, it's really tough to pick up your stuff and continue on your tour. Uh, this is yet another example, interior one-person Bivy tent, very similar to the others that I mentioned. Always the same structure. You have two layers tent. This is a full coverage fly, and then there is inner tent with mesh canopy inside. Also, the problem is when you have to go outside during the night to pee or something. You have to open this, you see, and then you will have rain inside on your equipment on the floor of the inner tent, and well, there is no way to get out without having everything wet. So this is all I wanted to say about this topic. Please follow the link below the video. You can come here and read this text in detail, and also follow some links from here. Subscribe to my channel, give me a like if this is useful to you, and until next time.